Welcome back to the CryptoWorld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, a massive bearish signal, a huge warning signal is flashing on the Bitcoin chart as the price is continuing the short-term cool-off from overbought territories, but now is starting to head closer towards oversold territories as more liquidations have just confirmed on this chart, while Ethereum is still playing out this bearish divergence, but is now starting to get into oversold territories in the short term, while Solana is also still repeating history. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the 4-day Bitcoin chart, and right now the super trend indicator is still sitting in the red. So over the last few days, nothing has really changed on this chart. And if we're taking a look at the 2-day Bitcoin chart, of course, we're continuing the current rejection from this critical line of resistance again. So of course, this is not the first time we've seen this. We've seen this many times over the last half a year or so. And so that's why I've been saying over and over again here on the channel that we really need to break out above around 67 to 68,000 before we can actually start flipping more bullish again for the longer term trends, basically expecting more of a bull run that could last for months only if we break out above this line. Until then, we're still looking bearish when it comes to the larger trend on the larger timeframes. And obviously, as you can see right here, this larger bearish trend can contain short-term bullish trends and short-term bearish trends that ultimately make up the longer-term bearish trend. So that is the current situation right now. And as of right now, in the short term, we are indeed reversing from a short-term bullish trend into potentially now a short-term bearish trend that is still within the larger bearish trend once again. And one of the reasons why we're starting to see more of a dump at the moment in the short term in the price of Bitcoin is due to the fact that we're currently seeing a major spike to the upside in the DXY, or the US dollar index, which is a massive bearish signal for Bitcoin. And I started to warn about this in my last video. I said that the DXY is starting a slight move to the upside. So this is something to pay attention to, especially if it continues. I said in my last video, if this continues, that will be a major warning signal, a bearish signal for Bitcoin. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now, a major bounce in the DXY, which is very bearish for Bitcoin. And as we can see, we are indeed seeing more bearish price action for the price of Bitcoin while the DXY is bouncing. And we can see this happen over and over again throughout Bitcoin's history. For example, back here and all of these previous examples, when the DXY is trending in the bullish direction, usually, not always, but usually that is bearish for the price of Bitcoin. And so while this is happening here in the DXY, we should be expecting more bearish price action for the price of Bitcoin, at least in the short term, as the most likely outcome now that we're starting to see a bullish reversal in the DXY. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin chart, obviously the moment we broke below around 64,500 approximately, at that point we started to lose some major supports because previously that was a significant level on the price chart. So we basically broke below that area right there, and we've now broken below 63,000. So we've basically fallen all the way back down towards this area of support in between around 60,000 to 61.2k approximately. And if we break back below that area, which at the current rate could potentially happen soon, in that case, if we break back below that area on the price chart, that would be very bearish for Bitcoin and basically continue more of a short-term bearish trend that could potentially last for a matter of weeks, kind of like this previous short-term bullish trend lasted for a couple of weeks or so. And below around $60,000, we do have a small amount of support close to 59,500. And below that, we have a small amount of support at 58,000. But really, the next significant area of support below 60,000 is sitting in between around 56 to 57,000. That is the next significant area of support to the downside. And below that area, we do have this major area of support sitting in between around 51 to 53,000. And once again, as I mentioned in my last video here on the channel, anytime where we break back below a key level on the price chart, or especially form lower lows, those are bearish reversal signals, which at this point have now effectively confirmed. And if we're taking a look at the shorter term on the 6-hour time frame, obviously all the way back up here when the price was sitting at around 66,000, obviously I was saying here on the channel how we're running out of room to the upside due to the fact that the RSI is overbought. So we're due to see a cool off of some sort, basically a break or a setback from all of the bullish momentum. And obviously over the following days after that overbought signal confirmed, we did end up seeing a bit of a short-term pullback over the next few days. But once we started to break below these previous lows just here, only just recently, so breaking below around 62,500, that started to liquidate a lot of long positions, causing a long squeeze, which is bearish for the price. And just before talking about that and what is happening right now to the price of Bitcoin, first, if you want to trade these moves in the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto, personally, I take just about all of my trades over on Bybit. And also right now on Bybit, there is a massive trading competition happening, which is indeed the World Series of Trading. And this year, there's a $10 million prize pool, 10 million USDT up for grabs. And currently, this starts in a little over a week from now. And not only is there a $10 million prize pool, there's also other prizes like Rolex watches and also a luxury yacht. That is right, Bybit is giving away an entire yacht in this trading competition. And with these prizes right here, you don't even have to be the best trader in the competition. You simply just have to be in the competition and make some trades. And this is basically a lucky draw that draws these prizes right here. And so if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check this out. First link down below this video. And if you click that link down below this video, it'll take you to this page right here where you can join my team. I've actually got an official team in this competition, which is the cryptoworld team. And also, if you're in the first 10 people that join my cryptoworld team, you'll get a $20 airdrop into your Bybit account just by being in the first 10 people that join my team. Also, if you join my team in the next 2 to 3 days, you get an early bird bonus of $50. And also, if you're a new user on Bybit, if you've just made your Bybit account using the link down below this video and you join my team just by depositing $500 and making a $2,000 trade, you can also get an extra $50 bonus. So there's a bunch of free money just to be made just by joining the team. And of course, it costs nothing to actually join this competition or join this team, and we could potentially win a share in a $10 million prize pool. And also, once again, there's those lucky draw prizes where you don't even have to be the best trader and you could still potentially win these prizes just by joining this competition in my cryptoworld team. Once again, link down below. But for those of you out there that cannot access Bybit, for example, if you're in the US, you might not be able to access Bybit. But if that's the case, you can still access Bitgeet, which is another crypto exchange similar to Bybit. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check out Bitgeet, which does not require KYC. And using the link down below this video to Bitgeet, you can get a 5.5k deposit bonus. And only if you use that link, you can get an exclusive 10% discount on all trading fees on the Bitgeet exchange forever. But that is only if you use the link down below this video to make your Bitgeet account. But with that being said, getting back to the Bitcoin price today, and as we can clearly see over the last couple of days, once again, we had a bit of a short-term pullback, which started to stall, started to basically slow down in the short term until we broke below these lows right here. This was the point where the price basically gave way. And obviously, I talked about this in my last video here on the channel. I said, if we break back below around 62 to 62,500, in that case, that would potentially trigger a bit of a long squeeze, as we would be liquidating some major long positions right around 62.2k, give or take. And so the moment we saw that move to the downside and we started to liquidate a lot of long positions at around 62 to 62,500, obviously that triggered a further slide in the price of Bitcoin just in the short term here, all the way down towards close to 61,000, at least as of recording this video. And so that is part of the reason as to why we saw a further dump here in the short term. Once again, this was a bit of a long squeeze, the opposite of a short squeeze, which is bearish. This is long positions getting liquidated, which adds more sell pressure to the market. But we do have some good news in the short term here on the 6-hour time frame, which is the fact that the 6-hour Bitcoin RSI is now starting to enter into oversold territories, not overbought, but oversold. And now it's important to understand that this does not necessarily mean the bearish price action is completely over and we're now about to see a lot of bullish price action. Once again, it does not necessarily mean that. It just means that we're kind of approaching a bit of a downside limit just in the immediate short term. So we could be due to see a bit of a slight bounce or maybe a sideways consolidation sometime over the next 1 or 2 days or so. And as we play out a bit of a break or a relief from the bearish price action, maybe over the next 1 or 2 days, give or take, that can help help to reset the RSI back to the upside, which can technically give us more room to the downside later on in more of a short-term bearish trend. So just keep that in mind. And so once again, this does not necessarily mean that we're at the bottom. It just means that we're approaching potentially a local low before we're soon about to potentially see a bit of a relief or break from the bearish price action at some point in the next 1 or 2 days or so. And the last time we saw an oversold signal confirm in the 6-hour Bitcoin RSI was back here near the beginning of September approximately, and that occurred around a local low in the price of Bitcoin before we did actually see a bit of a bullish relief over the next few days. But once again, we don't always see a bullish relief like that. For example, if we're looking at an overbought signal, all of these previous examples right here, we saw different things each time. But the one thing in common was that we didn't really see a lot of bullish price action immediately after the overbought signal. And so an oversold signal is the opposite. It doesn't necessarily mean we're about to see a lot of bullish price action, like how an overbought signal doesn't necessarily mean we're about to see a lot of bearish price action. But what it does mean is just in the short term, maybe for the next couple of days or so, we do to see less bearish price action with an oversold signal, just like how an overbought signal means we're due to see less bullish price action within the next few days on this time frame. And as for resistance back to the upside, in case we were to see a bit of a bounce at some point in the next 1 or 2 days, in that case, we should expect some resistance at close to 63,000 and more resistance in between around 64 to 64,500 approximately. And once again, we still have significant resistance closer towards 67,000, and that's really going all the way up towards around 68,000. And as for the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, once again, we have already taken out that decent amount of liquidity to the downside in a small long squeeze right here, which once again is bearish. But even with that happening, we still have some more liquidity to the downside, going all the way down towards close to $60,000. Now, with that being said, it's a bit more spread out. It's not as concentrated as that liquidity that was sitting at around 62,000, give or take. But just be aware that it is possible that we could see a continued pullback maybe in the next few days after we first see a bit of a break sometime soon to reset the RSI in the immediate short term. But overall, the current trend in the markets, just in the short term, is already starting to look more bearish again now that we have broken below key levels of support. Once again, that's a bearish reversal signal. But of course, this is still all happening within a much larger bearish trend that has been the situation this entire time for many months. And with that being said, taking a look at Ethereum on the 3-day time frame, and right now we're still technically within this larger bearish trend, but we're still holding above this major area of support in between around 2150 to 2.2k. And as for this level of support that we're running into right now, that's still sitting at around 2450 to 2.5k. But right now, as of recording this video, we're testing that level of support right there. And of course, for resistance, we still have a significant amount of resistance closer towards around 2.8k, and I'd only really start to flip much more bullish again for the longer term trend if we break out back above around 2.8k, which obviously right now has not happened. But what we did see just in the last few weeks or so, we did see a shorter term bullish trend during the larger bearish trend, and that was mainly due to the fact that a massive bullish divergence on the daily time frame was playing out just over the last few weeks or so. But it's pretty much safe to say at this point that this bullish divergence is now effectively invalid. It's now basically no longer relevant, because the price itself has already started to break this bullish price structure by breaking below these lows, and the same can be said about the RSI on the daily time frame. This is already starting to play out a bit of a bearish reversal, forming lower lows, for example, which is an invalidation signal for this bullish divergence. And technically speaking, this bearish divergence on the 6-hour time frame has been active over the last half a week approximately, as I've been saying basically every day over the last half a week. And I mentioned in my last video here on the channel that if we break back below this low right here, sitting close towards around 2570, give or take, if we break back below that level, that would be very bearish. So I said if we break back below that level, expect much more bearish price action. And obviously that's exactly what we saw. The moment we saw a break below around 2570, give or take, we basically gave way. The price gave way and we saw a quicker move to the downside in a bit of a long squeeze, surely liquidating some long positions similar to Bitcoin. But also similar to Bitcoin, on the 6-hour time frame right here, the 6-hour Ethereum RSI is now just entering into oversold territories. As of recording this video, this is not yet confirmed because at least as of right now, we've not yet confirmed the candle close, putting the RSI in oversold signals and actually confirming it there. And so at least for now, this is some good news for the Ethereum bulls out there just in the immediate short term. But once again, this does not necessarily mean that we're about to see a major bullish relief or massive bullish pump like this. It does not necessarily mean that, because oftentimes these oversold signals simply play out in the form of some choppy sideways price action or maybe a slight bullish relief. But sometimes that can just help to reset the RSI back to the upside, which can give us some more room to the downside later on in more of a bearish trend. And so that is the current situation. Once again, sometime over the next 1 or 2 days or so, I would expect a bit of a break from all of this bearish price action or a slight relief here in the short term. But ultimately, the trend may remain bearish, possibly for a number of weeks right now, considering we have started to form bearish price structure like lower lows, for example. And if we're taking a look at Solana on the daily time frame, obviously we continued that rejection from this exact area of resistance that I've been warning about over and over again here on the channel, sitting in between around 159 to 163, and that's exactly where we rejected from multiple times. And just over the last 1 day or so, we basically pulled all the way back down towards this area of support, which is a major area of support in between around 138 to 143. And at least at the time of recording this video, that's exactly where we've currently bounced from. So we've basically exactly rejected from this area of resistance that I've been warning about. And then we've exactly bounced from this exact area of support that I've also been talking about. And so obviously selling at resistance or buying at support is usually a decent strategy. As always, not financial advice, but if you used a strategy like that just over the last few days, you would have done very well. For example, if you shorted at resistance or longed at support, at least as of right now. But obviously, this short-term bullish trend right here has effectively lost all of that bullish momentum, and we're basically in a bit of a choppy sideways price range right now. So we could chop around within this sideways price range for a number of days, once again in between this area of support and this area of resistance that I just mentioned earlier. And now if we were to see a breakback below around 138, in that situation, obviously in the short term, that would be a major bearish signal. And so in that situation, we'll likely see a move back down towards this massive area of support where we should see a massive amount of buying pressure take place. And that's sitting in between 120 to 128. But once again, that's only if we break back below this area of support in between 138 to 143, which for now has not happened. At least as of right now, we're still holding above that area of support. And if we're zooming further into the short term, looking at that 8-hour time frame, obviously, as I've also been warning about over the last few days, since the price was all the way back up here at around 157 to 158, I've been saying how we're most likely going to see a short-term cool-off over the next few days, most likely in the form of either some bearish price action or at least neutral price action. So basically no more bullish price action over the next few days as a result of this bearish divergence that has already been active for the last few days, for the last half a week, give or take. And the last time we actually saw a bearish divergence play out on the 8-hour Solana chart was back here near the end of July. And obviously the outcome of that previous bearish divergence was a major pullback over the next 1 week approximately. But it's important to understand that that is not always the outcome of a bearish divergence. That's just one example of a potential outcome. Once again, it's possible that we could see a slight pullback or a larger pullback or even a bit of choppy sideways price action. But ultimately what it means is that we should not be expecting bullish price action. But once again, it is possible that we could see a very slight bounce from this major area of support, considering at least for now, there is a decent amount of buyers in that area. But ultimately, I'll not be expecting a massive bullish movement like that, for example. And instead, a likely scenario is the price simply bouncing around in this sideways price range in between this area of support and this area of resistance as this bearish divergence basically plays out over the next few days or so. And once again, if you want to trade these moves in the price of any crypto, check out those links down below this video to get those extra bonuses, and especially the first link for that massive trading competition happening right now. And if you're new to crypto and you want to know how to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, no matter if the price is bullish, bearish, or chopping around sideways, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.